I had done trigger shot. I had cyst rupturing. I didn't know what it was. And then we found out we were pregnant that August.
If you've been through rounds of Clomid, trigger shots, and IUI, and still no baby, I want you to know that you're not alone. Maybe doctors said IVF is your only option, or maybe, like Caitlyn, you've experienced complications like cyst rupturing or the frustration of searching for answers like endometriosis that never seem to come. But what if you're missing a key piece of the puzzle? In this video, you're going to hear Caitlyn's story, how she went from cycles of disappointment and being pushed into IVF to finally finding clarity, healing, and hope with the right support. And I'll break down the exact steps that we took so you can walk away with real, actionable steps to apply to your own fertility journey. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Marc Sklar, the fertility expert. I've helped women all over the world who were told it was too late or too complicated to take back control of their fertility and finally grow the family that they've dreamed of. Before we jump in, if you've been trying to conceive and feel like no one's connecting the dots in your fertility case, I want to invite you to book a free personalized fertility assessment with my team. We'll take a deep dive into your unique situation, explore the potential roadblocks, and create a personalized roadmap to optimize your fertility naturally. The link is below in the description. Now, let's talk about Caitlyn. Okay, let's hear from Caitlyn herself, and then I will comment throughout, and then I've got some specific things that I want to share at the end of her video to highlight some key pieces.
So I was 31 years old when we started working with him, and previously we had been trying for just about 6 years or so.
6 years.
We had gone through rounds and rounds of Clomid. I had done trigger shot. I had cyst rupturing. I didn't know what it was, and so we found that out. We went with another doctor who decided to go in and search and see if I had endometriosis, which I did. It was on my ovaries. It was everywhere, where he tried to get as much as he could, but he couldn't get it all. He was the same doctor. He's kind of a little old school. He pulled my ovaries, removed the cysts off my ovaries. And then at that point, he decided right after the surgery would be the best time to start trying again. And so I had done 4 rounds of the Clomid trigger shots and the intrauterine inseminations. After the 4th, nothing worked. I never was able to get pregnant. He sent us over to a fertility specialist here in Fresno. And he looked at everything, and his opinion was that I would only have a 56% chance of getting pregnant with IVF. My mother-in-law is actually the one who had been doing a bunch of research for us, and she found Dr. Sklar.
Yeah, so I'm so happy that her mother-in-law advocated for her and was digging deeper and found us as support for her. Look, she had gone through, you heard her say, so many IUIs, trigger shots, many rounds of Clomid before and after the laparoscopy to address the endometriosis. And often that's actually what happens, is endometriosis is diagnosed very late because it's not something that is looked at in the beginning. And with her history and how she was describing her history, actually endometriosis should have been looked at actually much sooner than that. I do think that she approached that piece properly, like she should have had the laparoscopy. I am particular about the type of physician or surgeon who does that. I don't think that any OB is qualified to do a lap to investigate endometriosis and, more importantly, address it and clean it up. But luckily for her, she found someone who was able to address that, yet she was still not able to conceive afterwards. And that's where we kind of start and fit into this picture. All right, we're gonna take it back to her.
Once I think it was June of 2019, we started working with him. So the whole situation, he's amazing. And he, through all the tests, the labs and tests he had performed, he found several things within myself. My husband was his count was really high, but he had a low percentage of abnormal sperm. But I had the endometriosis, hypothyroidism, my glucose was high, just several things that the doctors hadn't even considered or even would think to have it play a factor, I guess.
Yeah, to look at.
In getting pregnant. And so after the specialized plan, my husband and I stick to it like hardcore.
I'm going to pause her right here for just a moment. So a key thing that happens when someone is diagnosed with any condition, in her case endometriosis, is we don't even look at anything else. Like her physicians didn't even look anywhere else to see if there were other things contributing to the issue. And we found, right, that there was hypothyroidism, that there was a blood sugar issue, that she had other imbalances that needed support. And so we can't get blinded by a diagnosis and forget to look elsewhere. All right, we need a comprehensive picture. And even though you find something like endometriosis, that might not be the entire picture. And so you've got to fill in the entire picture so that the plan that they follow is addressing all of their needs. Okay, let's continue to hear from her.
And Dr. Sklar would check in with us and would check my labs as we went on to make sure like my thyroid was in place. And there was talk of I had started with natural supplement for that. And he had said when it come down, I would need to go on medication. And thankfully it did come down. So I was able to stay natural, which I had wanted to do, but I was okay with if I needed it to do it.
So it's important that once we do our initial labs, you do your initial labs, and you take action to address the things that you find in it, that you don't stay on those things forever or indefinitely, right? We have to recheck to watch progress so that we know how to adjust your specific plan and supplements. And so that's basically what she's referring to. We realized that there was hypothyroidism, we had to address it, but we had to check it, right? So you check it periodically and you see that things are improving. And so you're like, okay, do we stay on this? Do we adjust anything? So it's important with any plan that that is part of the process.
The number one thing that stands out to me and still sticks with me is during conversation, I had told him like, I'm not going to hold it against him if I don't get pregnant, but I just want to be healthy. We were also going through the adoption process at the same time. And then we found out we were pregnant that August. So last August.
So listen, the goal for me when I work with anybody is that the ultimate goal is for you to become pregnant. But to do that, we have to get you to be as healthy as possible. That will lead to the ultimate goal of a positive pregnancy, a healthy pregnancy, and a little one in your arms. So when she says her goal was to become healthy, that's my goal for everybody, is to become healthy and specifically healthy enough that you can conceive and have a child. All right.
That this was going to lead to us getting pregnant. And I know when we first met with him, he said, I can't guarantee 100% that I can get you there, but he gave us so much more hope than Western medicine can do. Because he looks at your whole entire body as a whole, not just, okay, let's focus on pumping you with drugs to try and get you pregnant, but he cares about the whole system. Going from an opinion of a top fertility specialist of saying you only have 56% chance to working with Dr. Sklar and him saying, I'm pretty sure I can get you pregnant. Like, I've worked with people like this before, was like night and day. I'm like, what? How is this possible? He, down to like my labs, down to the T, he had it specialized, the plan for us. And yeah, I believe that led to us getting pregnant. Yeah, I was so excited to reach out to him to let him know that we were pregnant. And then I had sent him an email after we had our daughter. Yeah, to just share with him, because I know like he really does put his time and talent.
Yeah, clearly her internet wasn't ideal and so forth, but it means the world to me when I find out from those couples that I'm supporting that we're pregnant, when I find out from all of you who are watching on YouTube that you're pregnant and you made changes. So please let me know. But it's about understanding the root cause. I know I say it over and over and over, but without that, we really can't make the necessary changes, the appropriate changes for you. And following what other people do isn't always going to get you there because it's not unique to your specific needs. So I want to remind you all that if you want the guidance, the coaching, the lab work analysis, the adjustment to your plan, the constant looking at your labs to make sure you get these results just like her, that is possible. If you join my Hope coaching program, if you want to talk to someone on my team about that, you can use the link in the description below to apply. Now I want to highlight a couple of key things that she talked about that I didn't discuss in the detail that I want. She was sharing her story. So medication isn't always the full solution. You know, you go into your OB's office and really all they have to offer you are two things: medication and surgery, right? And actually for her, she got both, right? Because she got the medication first, she got Clomid and a trigger shot and probably some other hormones with it. That didn't work. They dug deeper. Then she had surgery. She had the laparoscopy to rule out endometriosis. In her case, it was ruling it in and addressing it. And then she got more medication. But that didn't solve the problem. You know, Clomid and a trigger shot stimulate ovulation, but they don't address the why your body might not be ovulating or conceiving naturally. Like in her case, she was ovulating. She just wasn't able to conceive. And so medications weren't solving the underlying imbalance. So ask yourself, are you just treating the symptoms or are you uncovering the root issue and dealing with those root key issues? That is an important question to ask yourself as you're going through this process and doing the treatments that you've been doing. The second point I want to bring up is ruptured cysts. She brought it up, and this is an important piece as well, because what this starts to show is that there's potentially something going on in the ovaries. It shows that often points to inflammation. Inflammation often points to endometriosis. Those cysts on her ovaries are or were probably endometriomas, and these need to be addressed properly. Right? So having that understanding there is an important piece to a complete picture for her and how you approach her case. And so your body is constantly talking to you. Your body is saying things. Often it's whispering, sometimes it's yelling at us. We have to pay attention to these things because these are signs and these are things that we need to pay attention to so that we can get proper support. The third thing that I want to highlight about her is that it goes back to this endometriosis, that digging deeper into endometriosis is key and was key for her to get a clear diagnosis. Endometriosis isn't always visible on imaging and sometimes difficult to find on even a laparoscopy. You know, so if you suspect it, then that needs to be looked at in the beginning. I'm seeing it more and more and more over the last couple of years. And that shows that there is an inflammatory response happening, often shows that there's an immune issue going on. And when that happens, it often shows that we have to address gut health. We have to support the immune system. There's a lot going on when we start to see endometriosis that if it's not addressed properly, it's going to be difficult for you to conceive. And last but not least, IVF isn't the only next step that you have to consider. Being referred to IVF or the IVF doctor saying, I can help you, but I think it's only a 50-something% chance, which actually in the IVF world is actually relatively high, is not the only next step that you have. Jumping into another expensive and emotional process can be even more difficult and doesn't usually lead to the results that you're looking for. So I want to empower you to find the results that you deserve to have and to get proper information about your specific needs so that you can get a clear, unique plan to support you on your journey. So if you're stuck in the Clomid, IUI, IVF loop, wondering if you've missed something, it's time to look deeper. Book your complimentary personalized fertility assessment with my team. We'll map out a clear, actionable plan based on your specific case so that you can move forward with confidence and clarity. Whether you're trying naturally, prepping for IVF, or somewhere in between, this is the next step for you. Just click the link below to apply to qualify. Spots are limited, so please don't wait. We only have so many hours in a day to talk to everybody. You do not have to do this alone. Let's figure this out together. Apply today. Let's make your dream of motherhood a reality. And until the next video, stay fertile.